visited behind a glass, our daughter was a little arm baby. And now at 16, she's visiting behind a glass again. Oh, I got to tell a story time about the first time we visited there. And our daughter actually remembered, like, she was a little girl, like, little baby back then. So she didn't understand. But this time she was like, that is so sad. It hurt her so bad to see her dad. And she said, it looks like he's like an animal caged up because the visitation area, like where they are, is basically a cage. They lock them in there. It's a cage, and then you're out on one side, a free room where you can walk just up and down to the bathroom, a couple of microwaves, a couple benches, and then chairs up against each window slot. And but they're on their side are locked into cages. They come in shackled. They got shackles around. She's never seen him shackled. She had never seen her father shackled until that time. They got the shackles on their feet, so they unlocked their feet, they unlocked their arms, and they locked them in that cage. And that was the first time she ever had seen that before. So that's different. And it's sad. And she was like, God, I'll save that for that story. Okay, so the visitations are different. When he went to the level 3, that's when the visitations became where it was still every 2 weeks, but he was open. It wasn't locked in that cage. It was in a different room where you could kind of get up, go to the canteen window. You got your regular table. Y'all could sit together and y'all could take pictures again. So it was like a regular visitation. And we had got to the point where there was only one more visit and he was going to be back into regular security. His custody was dropped and he was done with his max time and he was going back to his regular level of custody, and it would be back to regular all day visits on Saturday and Sunday. But the shutdown happened. The pandemic shut that out. Visitation was over. So it's like we get through one storm to go to another storm to go to another. We didn't do the storm in, girl, like for real. So that is the differences in the visitations. Okay, so we're on number 7. There were no tablets at all. No tablets. Marcello actually didn't have a tablet before he went to Max, though. He didn't get his until after he got out of Max. He asked me to order him one. At first, we weren't going to do the tablet thing. We were very much opposed to that because we believed the more that they enforced tablets, the more that they were going to try to stop actual visitations. They were going to encourage more tablet visitations and more tablet, like communicating through emails instead of letters and stuff. And we're slowly getting to that point. And it's almost like instead of that actual connection that our daughter had with her father, it would be my daughter, like with a tablet instead of her actual father in front of her. Like they feel like it's the same, but for us, it's not the same. There's no replacing touching his hand, hugging him. You can't hug a tablet. Like, Dad, like, girl, it's not the same. So we were kind of opposed to using them because the more you use them, the more they're going to want to gear towards that. So there's no tablets. Okay, number 8. Things can be purchased will be different. So with canteen, the canteen things that he can purchase are different. The max securities, the levels have different things they can purchase. So now I know the one thing that for Marcello, I don't know specifically what the foods are, but it was only like a limited stuff that he could purchase when he was on the levels 1 and 2. When he got to 3, because that's what he loved, that visitation, that I could buy him coffee, because they couldn't have coffee. Like usually he could, all throughout all his sentence he can have coffee, but there in Max he couldn't have coffee. So he would love to enjoy to come to visitation and be able to have a cup of coffee. So what they would have you do is warm their food up, their burgers, their whatever food needed to be cooked. You warmed it up. They put it in like a little box tray, those boxes when you stock the shelf and all the cans come out and it's just a box there. You put his food in there, cover it with a paper towel or whatever, and hand it off to the guard. The guard is you're going to go in with your box of your food on your side of the window, and the guard is going to, when he unlocks your loved one and lets him in there, then he's going to give him the tray through the little slot. So that's how it worked. So he was happy to get his water. So I would have to warm up his water. But if they played around, his coffee would get cold and stuff like that. His sandwich would get cold or whatever. And I wanted him to eat his meal the way it was intended. But he was so happy about that freaking coffee. So that was the one thing that I realized was different that he couldn't have, that he could, that he used to be able to have. So that's a difference. And it may sound like it's little, foods, but right now, if you think about it, they already don't get the best of foods. And I know they're very creative with the way they put them together and make them taste good. But when you go from that limited to even more limited, like when you have very little, when you lose the littlest of things, it mentally, like it does something to you. It makes you feel like I can't even have a freaking cup of coffee. Like for real. Okay, so we're almost done, guys. Thank you for hanging in there. Okay, so number 9, your man's hours out of cell are going to be different. Before, he was able to go around and this and that, like I explained earlier. But Marcello also explained to me call outs is different when you're in maximum. Usually a call out, if they're going to library, going this place, that place, whatever, they're going to the doctor, what a little nurse in there, whatever he's going to, he'll be called out. And he just goes down there. Now, when you're on maximum, he said you're escorted everywhere shackled. So that's the difference with the call outs. There's not much, even to the shower. He said you're shackled, escorted to the shower. And like now, when he's ready to take a shower, he go take a shower. And actually, I think in Max, that too is different. He wasn't able to shower every day. So he would have to go days before he can shower again. You're out of the cell like 1 hour and the rest is locked down. He said they bring the food to you. You are not going down and getting your food like how they usually do. You are having the food brought to you. So those are some differences. So it's mainly just lockdown. Just lockdown, lockdown. Okay, so number 10. Your man could be further away after the time is done, after his max time is done. And he has to be trouble free for 2 years to be eligible to move back closer towards home. So this is the stage we're at. Marcello was released. I thought that they would clearly release him closer to the house. Like, I didn't think, he's usually 3 hours, 2 hours. That's where I thought we were going to get back to that area. Even though before, had they went on and just transfer him when he had the good transfer, he would have been like 40 minutes to an hour away. But they kept hesitating, waiting around. And then that riot happened and that cleared that off the board. So now when he was let out of the maximum security, actually he had to do extra max time because the shutdown happened and he was stuck there. There was no movement. So when they finally transfer him, they transfer him all the way to the tippy top of Florida, which is very far from Central Florida, where I'm at and where his home is. So for him to get any closer, he has to be 2 years trouble free at that facility to be able to transfer closer. So that's where we are. We had a close call that just through his birthday. His birthday was last month. He spent his 40th birthday in the hole in prison, still in prison, but not just free where I could call him and this and that, in the hole, which is crazy. They were again trying to accuse him of something and he had nothing to do with it. But this time, grace of God, he beat that. He beat it. That would have meant him getting in trouble. Excuse me. That would have meant him, if he had got in trouble that time, that would have meant that he could have lost game time. He already gets so little because he has this long sentence. But anything, at this point, we don't want to lose no time. And he would have lost visitation with not only just me. It was time that we could actually reapply for visitation. And if you want to know how our visitations, check that description box, how our visitations were canceled, the bogus nature of it. And that was my happy 40th birthday surprise. Like, surprise. You can no longer visit your man. Surprise. So, we were able to reapply, but that would have meant that we could not reapply and that he would lose visitations with everybody. He couldn't visit a soul for 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So these are some of the things that you are going to experience. It could be a little bit different, but it could be similar natures, similar in nature that happens to you when your man goes from a lower custody to a higher custody. If you hung through to the end, thank you guys. I hope this video helps you. If it does, give me a thumbs up. You can help your girl out, like, for real. For real. So we need this algorithm to pick your girl up so that I can finally, be doing this for a reason, girl. Like, for real. Anyways, it's your girl, Cadillac.